In this video, we're going to talk about solving polynomial equations. There are a few steps that we have to take in order to find solutions to polynomial equations. The first thing that we have to do is write the equation in standard form. So by standard form, we mean that the equation is written so that the exponents of the variables go in descending order from left to right, like this. Or this. And that the equation is set equal to 0. So if you have an equation that looks like this, this equation is not in standard form. So in order to get it in standard form, you have to manipulate it so that it follows the rules of the exponents and also that it is set equal to 0. So if we were working with this equation, the first thing that we would do is move the x cubed over to the left, and we would write 4x cubed plus x, and then we would want to move the 10 across the equal sign so that we have 0 left on the right and the 10 is on the left with the variables. So the positive 10 will become a minus 10, and now your equation is equal to 0, and so this equation is now in standard form. After you have rewritten your equation in standard form, the next step is to factor and set each factor to 0. For this equation, we have to write it in standard form. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of my z's in order. So I have to move this z cubed over to the far left. So that's going to become z cubed. And then this negative z squared is going to be next. My 12z is going to move across the equal sign, making it negative 12z, and that leaves me with 0 on the left. Now my equation is written in standard form, and I'm ready to factor. So the first thing that I notice is that every term has a z in common, so I'm going to pull a z out front. Then I'm going to divide each of my 3 terms by z. When I divide z cubed by z, I get z squared. When I divide z squared by z, I get z. When I divide 12z by z, I get negative 12. And that's equal to 0. Now, I notice that I can factor this trinomial. So I need 2 numbers that multiply to get me 12 and subtract to get 1. So if I write down all my factors of 12 over here, so when I look at my factors, I notice that 3 and 4 will give me the results that I need. So I'm just going to put those into my first term has to be z in order to get a z squared. And I know that I have a 3 and a 4. And because I have a negative z, then my biggest number has to be negative. My other sign is positive because a negative and a positive will give me that negative 12. So my equation is now fully factored, and all I have to do is set each factor equal to 0. Our factors are each one of these terms, the z, z minus 4, and z plus 3. So setting z equal to 0 is the first factor, and then when I set z minus 4 equal to 0 and solve for z, I have to move my 4 to my other side, and so it becomes z is equal to 4. Then when I set z plus 3 equal to 0, moving my 3 to the other side, I get z is equal to negative 3. So here are my answers to this polynomial equation: 0, 4, and negative 3. Another way to solve polynomial equations is to use a graphing calculator. So when we graph our function z cubed minus z squared minus 12z, we get the function that looks like this. And if you zoom in on the x-axis and look at the points where the function crosses the graph, we find negative 3, 0, and 4, which are the answers that we got when we factored the polynomial. So graphing a function will always show you where the zeros of the function are.